Hey, I'm Fernando Perdomo, and you're watching The Bottom Unplugged.
And I'm Jennifer Kaiser, and you're watching The Bottom Unplugged.
I've known Jennifer since we were both like 13, 14?
15. And Fernando played the guitar really, really well. He was the best in the class. And I always had a passion for writing songs and making music. And Fernando and I started working together at his house. His brother put a studio together. That was the beginning of it.
Jennifer put out an album called Masquerade. It was fantastic. I co-produced it, and it's a really fantastic record. One of the things that the fact that Jennifer, you just moved to New York.
I did just move to New York after all these years.
It was very hard to find press in the local magazines to actually cover it. And even when she opened up for Soul Asylum, she got turned down by local press. I think any success is made out of small victories. If the local press won't cover the small victories, what makes you think that they're going to cover the large victories? I studied journalism. I don't think that's what I was taught.
That was a fun show.
That was an amazing show.
You played really great that show.
You played amazing that show. It was fantastic. We used to have local zines that were pretty much distributed to every store that said Rag, and one was called Rag and one was called Jam, and it was a local music zine. Kind of the same way the LA Record is in LA, and the same way that the Village Voice is in New York. There's no unifying press down here. There's no singular magazine that you could pick up and find reviews of local artists and exposés on local artists, when really they're also exposing local business. So maybe we should have that again.
I just recently moved out of Miami because I got accepted to study social work at Fordham University. You know, I've been a singer-songwriter in the Miami Beach music scene for, I guess, close to 15 years now. There was a period of time where I was very, very active and involved down here. I even started an open mic at the Fairwind Bar and Grill. I've played at every club that's ever hosted music in this city from 1995 to 96. When I was about 16, I started getting out. I brought Fernando out there with me. Brant's Break. We hit every bar, the Gables Pub, the Marlin Hotel, the Senior Frogs.
And we thought it was kind of messy back then. We kind of thought the scene was hard to break out of, but we had places to play. There was literally like 15 places that you could play as a local artist in Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
It was affordable to come out and play then. It was, when people came out to see you, they could buy a drink for between $3 and $5. Then suddenly drinks started to become $11 to $15.
I get complaints almost every time I play down here that the drinks are too expensive, cars are getting broken into, parking is too expensive. It's a very expensive town to do things. I mean, then again, in LA, my last show in LA at the Mint, people paid $10 to come see music because the value of music is a lot higher in LA. People out here, they won't even pay for music. They don't understand. It's impossible to charge a cover.
I have a very good friend, Matt Kramer. He was the singer for Saigon Kick.
Love is on the way.
Love is on the way.
Number one hit.
Song, and he doesn't want to play out here. I was told to move out of Miami if I wanted to make it as a rock artist a long time ago, and I didn't think I had to, and I'm glad that I stayed in Miami. Derek Cintron and Ryan Sandbrook and my guitar player, George Chablis. You know, they sound amazing, and they're all right here in Miami, and Fernando's studio was right here in Miami Beach, and that's where I recorded.
That's a good point you made. Miami has some incredible musicians.
Yeah, rock
One of the
musicians.
big differences is I noticed when I go out to LA as a professional guitar player is that, yes, there's thousands and thousands of great guitar players, but Miami especially, it seems like the ratio of great musicians to crappy musicians is a lot higher to the greater musicians because of all the great musicians coming out of the New World School of the Arts, the University of Miami, Miami Beach Senior High School especially, which we had a great scene of music. All the music programs here are fantastic. And also, there seems to be a lot more diversity in the fact that, yes, okay, this isn't like an indie rock town, so it seems like there's a lot more jazz, a lot more classical. We have the New World Symphony, which is fantastic, and everybody melds together. So at the Van Dyke or at a lot of these clubs, you'll see jazz musicians playing with rock musicians, playing with Latin musicians, playing with touring musicians. And there's a lot of Grammy Award-winning musicians and producers that are out from here. And again, we have every single possible element for a great music scene from the music and artist end. What's missing?
Press. Good press.
Press, radio,
Yeah.
media
The
coverage.
thing. I did a national college radio campaign with Fernando. I was one of the artists on the label that was involved in that. And my album got added to about 30 college stations, and I charted on about 4 stations. But yep, WVUM wouldn't even look at it. I did a live radio interview at Nova University, and they play my stuff there all the time. But that's in Fort Lauderdale. That's not Miami,
Big point. I listened to college radio on many different stations. I was in Boston, and I listened to college radio pretty much all day. And they had so much variety. They had a jazz hour, they had a local music hour, they had rock music playing all day and everything. I found out one of the biggest issues with WVUM, which used to play a lot of rock. UM is a private college. They do not have to be the usual typical college radio format, which is anything goes. They actually have a format, which they call danceable alternative. Unfortunately, that's not going to help our scene. So that's why, unless you have a beat, it doesn't get played on the radio.